Hello and welcome everybody to our webinar today, where we will be talking with Snom about their products for the hospitality sector. Join myself today, so it's going to be me. My name is Anna Maria and I'm the Sales Director from ProView, and then we've also got Paul Grant, who is the Channel Manager at Snom for UK and Ireland. Are you there, Paul?
Hi Anna, yes I am indeed, sorry, just unmuting myself. Yeah, morning everybody.
No problem, we all do it. How are you doing?
Very good, thanks, you okay?
Good, yeah, not too bad, thanks. Had a big breakfast, so I'm full of energy and ready to go.
Good.
Right, so I'll go through the agenda for today. We'll have a very brief introduction to ProView. Some of you that are on here today obviously will already know who we are, but for those of you who don't, I will give you a quick overview of who we are and what we do. And then I will hand you over to Paul, who will go through the full hotel product range. He will also talk you through the customization options and how ProView can help with the deployment. And then we will hang around for a bit for a Q&A session at the end. If you do have any questions at any point in the webinar, you don't need to wait until the end. Just send them through as and when they come up, and then we will go through them at the end of the session. Plus, we'll go through any more that come in during that time. So, brief introduction to ProView and who we are. So we are a comms, data and security distributor specialising in the deployment of IP and connectivity hardware. We are 25 years old, just celebrated our anniversary a few months ago, and we are not your typical box shifter. So we've got a wide array of wraparound services that has led us to specialising in supplying to ITSPs, MSPs and hosted resellers. We are hardware only, so one important thing to remember is that we don't offer any competing services, so no SIP trunks, etc. And we don't sell a hardware to end users either, so we are just channel only. And here are some of the main vendors that we work with. I'm not going to go through them individually, but you can see from a glance that we work with the main IP phone brands. We also work with IP door entry and access control manufacturer, IP paging and tannoy. We do the connectivity hardware such as routers and switches. We've got your peripherals like your Cat5 cables, UPS, video conferencing, headsets. We've pretty much built a one-stop shop for anything that you might need to put together a full VoIP solution. And this is our team here. As you can see, we aren't huge for the size of our business, but we are heavily focused on automation and zero touch, so we do manage to get by. And we have actually acquired a few more furry office friends since that one in the picture, so it is quite a fun place to be. And I will now hand you over to Paul, who's going to go through the hardware.
Cheers Anna, thanks for that. So good morning everybody. And let's click on my first screen. Right, so just a very quick introduction to Snom in the first place. I'm sure, well, I certainly hope you've all heard of us and come across Snom in the past. We've been in the IP telephony game for quite a while now, pretty much since its inception really, from the fact that in 1997 Snom launched the first ever commercially available IP telephone. So we've been around as long as IP telephony has really. But very recently, we've just expanded our proposition to incorporate the hotel and hospitality solutions that we've got. For those that do know Snom, you may be aware that we're now part of a company called VTech. They acquired Snom in 2016, but we have effectively been left to run as our own entity. But obviously what we do want to do is take advantage of the services and options that are available to us, which is kind of what we've done here. VTech have got a good strong history in the hospitality sector, so their product set is tried and tested, so it only made sense really that we took some of these products and put them under the Snom branding, and we took a selection of what we consider to be the most appealing and the most attractive top selling items, and put them under the Snom banner. So when you are dealing with your customers and you want to put forward a Snom proposition for a hotel, where we can now cater for the whole product suite in that sector. I refer to hotels in hospitality, but obviously there's other sectors like travel and tourism, event spaces, even care homes, just to name a few. And we also have our provisioning platform, which is something else that you guys may be already familiar with, and it's known as SRAPs, or SRAPs as some people call it. Something that you won't get obviously by dealing with VTech directly, so it helps to bring the expertise that Snom has available to you. There's also obviously the provisioning available from ProView, which some of you guys might be using already. So when it comes to the guest room phones, this is kind of like the new area that we've added to our portfolio. The range that we've selected, they've all got a very modern look for today's hotels. Simple by design, simple to use, which is obviously what we're looking for, what the customer at the end of the day is looking for. Just having things such as the core services for a hotel available on speed dial. We need to obviously make sure we're following the rules. We'll all be familiar with GDPR, and the hotel guest room phones that we have are fully compliant with GDPR because they don't store any data on them at all. So they are, as I say, a bit more simple by design. So that things such as, for example, the phone book feature, a last number redial, those are features that you can't have in this type of environment. So you will find that that functionality just doesn't exist, but that is, like I say, by design. Another factor to consider with guest room phones, because quite simply, you've potentially got a different guest in there every day. You also have staff, cleaners, etc., touching the devices when they're cleaning them. So we have adopted antibacterial plastics throughout the range. Just to get a little bit scientific, we have an inorganic antibacterial agent called zeomic, which is actually added into the plastic, and that's the science part over. You'll be glad to hear. But basically, it just means that all the handsets are antibac ready, which is obviously good for everybody involved. Just to give you a quick overview of the actual range. So if we start from the left, the HD 100 and 101 are the entry-level devices. The key difference between the two is the 100 you'll see has got a corded handset. The 101 is a decked handset. So the idea there is you can obviously wander around the room whilst you're talking. You can also add additional handsets with it being decked. You can add up to 3 on the HD 101 model. And the next series up from that is the 300s. So you have the 2 models there, the 350 and the 351Ws. The W is the big giveaway there. These 2 devices are Wi-Fi enabled. We have PoE across the board. So obviously with the Wi-Fi, you're not going to be using the PoE, so they come with, as you can see on the list there, the power supply, which is an option on all the devices on this page, but you get the power supply included with the wireless models. And again, the 351, the difference between that and the 350 is again the decked feature, and you can add additional handsets to that particular model. We then have the HM201 at the end, a slightly different type of phone because this one has a graphical display, full color graphic image. So you can obviously control all the functionality through the screen, and this operates just purely as a decked device. So the decked base station is PoE, and then you just obviously need a power socket for the handset that sits on that small cradle you can see. One of the advantages here is because it's a decked base, you can add additional handsets, but you can also hide the base station out of the way, so it's kind of out of sight of the customers. Hidden away. There's also a speakerphone option across the board, so each of these models in the hotel range does have the ability to add use the speakerphone functionality on there as well. Just in the last few weeks, we've added a couple of more models to the range. They are the HD300 and the HD30L. Key difference you'll see there, the 30L, if you look on the right hand side, the L actually refers to lobby. This is designed as a lobby phone, and you can see there, apart from obviously the volume and the mute buttons on there, all the rest of the keys have been blanked out. And the idea that this would be installed in communal spaces, in, for example, lobby areas, and you'd simply set the PBX up so that when you pick up the receiver, it just automatically dials straight through to the reception. Hence, there's no requirement for a keypad. The 300 itself is obviously there is a full keypad. That's just a fully functioning device, as you'd expect. On the and also the HC330L are PoE only. Just make a note of that. You're not able to power these via an external power supply, so PoE only on these two. The HD3 series, so the 350 and 351 from the previous page, and the 330L are also all available as an analog phone. So whilst we obviously are, certainly predominantly an IP-based company, there are still a lot of hotel environments where it's just either impractical or too costly to run cabling infrastructure to the rooms, but they've already got the analog infrastructure there. So those models are available as an analog derivative as well, which obviously just helps fulfill all your customers' requirements. So that's the room phones. Outside of the rooms as well, because if we're looking at a hotel, by way of example, then you've obviously got other areas of the business that you need to cater for. So we've got the reception. We already have customers using our devices in these areas, and other parts of the hotel as well, like reception, and then you've got admin, back office, finance offices, that sort of thing. You obviously need more functionality. So whilst there's certainly limitations on the guest room phones, the sort of devices that you see on the reception are clearly very functional devices. Reception in particular, they clearly need to be able to ID who the caller is. Is it is it a guest calling down one of the other departments perhaps, or is it just an external call with a new inquiry maybe? And by obviously to help fulfill that requirement on a reception area, we have the expansion module, which can be added onto the traditional desk phones that we have. The back office environment, again, it's similar sort of a type environment that you'd have to any normal office. So we've got the full range available: the D1s, D3s, D7s, and D8s. The expansion module is only available on the D7 and D8s, just worthy of note. But there's also the decked range. I'm not going to go into detail on that today, but Snom do have a full decked proposition. So a hotel environment might be the sort of thing where people like duty managers or cleaners, you may want to be able to contact them whilst they're wandering around the building, and sometimes these are quite big places. So tracking people down could be maybe a bit more awkward if you don't know where they are. So yeah, the decked phone is an alternative to consider as well for the back office side of the business. Just to quickly introduce a couple of the desk phone models to you, and the 785 on the right there, it's been around for quite a few years now. Very well established device. The 862 and the 865 are the newer models. These two have been around for a little while now, so you may have already been made familiar with these devices. Like I say, the expansion module is available on all of these, and it gives you the ability to use a single supplier, so you don't need to use different manufacturers' devices in different areas of the business. Hopefully, you could look at Snom as being the manufacturer to fulfill all the requirements. You've got different options like dual gigabit, obviously for things like gigabit pass-through, programmable features. You've got 5-inch color displays on there, and then you've, depending on the model, you can have Wi-Fi and Bluetooth integrated, straight away from the device if you're using that type of an environment. The latest additions to the D8 series are the 812 and the 815W. The W again, and just implying that there is Wi-Fi integrated into that model. And the 812, let's say down the line you decide you do want to add Wi-Fi, you can also add the Wi-Fi functionality via a USB dongle. But the 815W there, it's integrated already. You can also see the expansion module in use there. You can actually daisy chain up to 3 expansion modules. You've got 20 keys on each one with three screens that you can scroll through. So you've got up to 60 programmable buttons on each, giving you around about 180 plus the ones on the phone itself. So I think you've got about 190 extensions in total. So that should hopefully accommodate most environments. So that's the range themselves of physical hardware devices. I'd also just like to talk about the customization piece, which is something we always get asked for in hotels. So the example that you can see there for St Martin's Resort just makes the phone look great, stands out, and obviously you're continuing your brand throughout the rooms in that way. So you put your own logo on there. There's also the speed dials, so you can see on the right hand side there are 12 keys on the 350 and 351. Obviously that's got a bigger base, so it's got more room to add features and so on. The other models where they don't have as big a base area as that, and the keypad is on the receiver, there is still an area where you've got 3 speed dial options, and you can still have the the labels created for that. And then you've got a label where you can put the resort details on there, the hotel brand, actually on the base that the receiver sits onto as well. Where you see the buttons on the right hand side, the bottom 2 in the middle, mute and hold, they're set by default. You can't change them, but the rest of them you can select the type of button that you want the speed dial assigning to, and you can also select a little icon as well there to add onto each one. And then there's because the top area is blank, we've got the St Martin's Resort logo, but there's also just some brief details there about if you want to call to another room, or if you want to how to dial an emergency number and that sort of thing. So there's a little bit of sort of free text area. And when you're actually creating these labels, that's something that Anna is going to just tell you a little bit more about how they can help you with that shortly. But the templates and for these devices are all available on the Snom website as well. Just some more examples of how you can see the customization in action. If you look over on the left hand side there, where it's just showing multiple labels, you can see a big sort of like a white spaced area as well. That's just giving you the option to have the room number printed on there as well, or maybe even just it says room number, but then it's just a blank box. Might be preferable, because obviously if you are printing a pre-printed room number out, you're going to have to get an individual printed number for every room. If you leave it blank and then just obviously someone that's got a neat handwriting and a fancy pen could just complete it and fill that in, or you could just label that up yourselves. But it just means you can print out multiple labels of the same, put them in the phones, and then you can just identify each one individually yourselves. Like I say, the templates are all downloadable on the web, but really we'd recommend that you obviously speak to your account manager at ProView when you're looking at the specific details around how you want that to look. They come in 4 colour backgrounds as standard, which are black, white, silver, and like a gunmetal grey. But as you can see on the left hand side there, there's a kind of a green, sagey green colour, and there's a blue one. So I would just suggest that you speak with ProView about the colour schemes that you're looking for, so I can make sure they can meet your requirements on that. The other thing to mention on customization is the backplates on the H3 series. So any model that's in the H3 series, you can change the backplate it's available as an accessory item. So if you look at the second column there are the gunmetal grey. What Snom provide all our devices with by default is with the gunmetal grey backplate. But should it better suit the environment to have it in one of the other colours, then you can buy these just as a little add-on accessory. They clip on and clip off again. So the first column there is the pearl white, and then you've got silver, and over on the right hand side the black. So just like I said, available in whatever quantity you require, and like I said, just speak to ProView about that. Let's confirm the details, but it might just suit your particular hotel environment a little bit better. The customization continues into the desk phones. It may be that a hotel wants their own brand name on the desk devices that they have. So we can customize these. The only thing that you need to be aware of is that we do have a minimum order quantity of 50 units, and appreciate that a lot of hotels may not require 50 desk phones, so it might not quite be right for them. But something to be aware of there is that this logo can be anything. So as the reseller, you may well want to put your own branding on these devices, and then obviously you'll be able to fulfill the requirement because you'll be able to install these devices in various customers' sites. It doesn't even have to be hotels, that can be for any of your customers. So just customizing the Snom desk phone with your own corporate branding might be something of interest. And again, just contact your account manager at Provio and they'll be able to run through the details with you. We also create mock-up images. So any of the devices that you say, yeah, this is what logo I'd like on this device, we'll just send that information over to our graphics team and they'll just create a mock-up image so you can see what it would look like. Make sure you're happy with that before you have to place any orders. Anna, if I'm just asking you to sort of pick up this piece about how you can help the customers do the labels.
Yes, thank you. So that last piece of customization on the desk phones that Paul just showed, that whilst organised with ProView, that is done by Snom at their end. The bit that we can help you with is the faceplates for the hotel phone specifically. So you'll choose which one you want in terms of the colours, and then as for the design itself, there's templates that you can work with. We will send those templates off to our printers. They'll get a proof ready, and the turnaround time, it's just a local printer, so the turnaround time is usually only about 1 to 2 weeks. And we tend to find, with it being quite project based anyway, that tends to work for most people. And in terms of getting that organised, as Paul said, it's just a case of speaking to Provio account manager, or if you don't have one, then you could just speak to our sales and customer service team. Everybody there knows the process, so they can help you with that. And then just to summarise, just what we've gone through. So hopefully what we've shown you today is that Snom does have the experience in creating the phones for the specialised areas with different needs. In this new category, what we've done today is just another exploration from a very experienced manufacturer who've been able to put together something that meets those needs in this hospitality sector. From our side, ProView, I mean, we've been Snom's biggest distributor for 20 years, and we're here to support and guide you along the way. We work really closely with Snom, so you've got our contacts, you've got their contacts, and together we can help you with those deployments. Got a few useful links here. So Snom are really good at having all of this kind of stuff readily available for you guys. So we've got the main Snom website there. There is also a service hub where you will find spec sheets, data sheets, user manuals, really useful FAQs. I know that could tend to be the area that one people ignore, but actually Snom's covers quite a lot. We've guided you to the two that might be of interest based on what you've seen here today. And then if you do have any questions or you want to speak to us at a later date, then you've got my email address there. That's anna@proview.co.uk, or you can contact Paul, which is paul.grant@snom.com. And then if you want a copy of any of those links, let us know. We can send you after the slideshow. And for now, I have a few questions that I will go through. So we'll hang on for a few minutes and go through the questions. Feel free to keep typing some in as and when they come up. So first question, this one will be more for you, Paul. So customers asking, can any other decked handsets from Snom's range be used with the hotel decked base stations?
No, they can't. So this is kind of like a self-contained range is the hotel phones. So where you're using any of the decked-based models, then you can only use the corresponding hotel type phone with that. You won't be able to use, for example, like the M70, M80, and then cross those over. And similarly, the other way around, the hotel, like the HD3 device, doesn't. You can't connect that to like an M400 or an M900 base station. So yeah, so it's kind of self-contained. Hotel phones work with hotel bases.
Okay, great, thank you. And next question, we're being asked if you can have different numbers of SIP identities on the additional decked handsets in a room.
No, you can't. So basically, the idea there is that I've been asked this before actually. So if you've got the decked model and you've got multiple handsets on there, can you have different numbers to each of the handsets? And the answer is no, you can't, because the SIP identity is registered at the base station. The handsets are just simply a cordless handset to that base station. It just gives you the ability to add, up to 4 additional handsets, but they're all operating off the same extension number, so the same SIP ID. If you did obviously require a different number, you'd effectively be looking at a new phone, a new connection, a new extension. Hopefully that answers that.
Yeah, thank you. This next one's probably more for me. Being asked what the stock availability is like in the UK. So from ProView side on the hotel range, we are stocking small amounts. Obviously it is more of a specialist area, being hospitality, so we're not stocking hundreds and hundreds at a time, but we can get them in on fairly quick lead times from Snom in Germany. It only takes about 2 to 3 weeks, and like I said before, because it is project based, so far that's worked well with our customers. It's very rare. I don't think I've ever had anyone come to me and say I need hotel phones for tomorrow. So yeah, the lead times tend to work, and it's only coming from Germany, so it's fairly easy delivery. We don't usually get delays. Next question is about minimum order quantity on printing for the faceplate. So just to clarify, that's referring to the plastic paper bits that goes on the phone. So that's the bit that ProView do, and on that bit there is no minimum order quantity because we're not printing physically on the device itself. So if it was 10 hotel phones, we could do it, as well as if it was 200. The bit to remember is that if you are looking for printing on the desk phones, that's the bit that's done by Snom, because we are printing on the physical device. There is a minimum order quantity of 50 on those. Okay, and one final question. I think you may have covered this, but if you could help clarify, we've been asked, are the handsets available in any different colours?
So, I mean, our standard hotel range they're all black and gunmetal grey by default. Yeah, because in our desk phones we do sometimes offer a white variant, but we don't offer that in the hotel range. So it's they're all black and gunmetal grey. And then the option, as you mentioned, I covered earlier, is if you wanted to change the colour of the back plate on the back of the receiver, there is the ability to be able to click that off and swap that for a different colour. So you've got the 4 in total. You've got the pearl white, the gunmetal grey, the silver, and the black. So that does give you the ability to sort of change one of the core parts of the device. To maybe better suit the environment that it's in, if you've got a particular colour scheme you're trying to match. But otherwise, yeah, the main base unit is black, and the standard colour default is the gunmetal. Yeah.
Okay, thank you. That's it for the questions for now that have come through. I will hang on for a minute or two just in case any more come in, but really do appreciate the questions that we've had so far. Don't worry if you do think of something later on. As I said before, you're welcome to get in contact with us. My email address is anna@proview.co.uk, or you've got paul.grant@snom.com. I have just had one come in asking if it's possible to get a copy of the slides, and the answer is yes. That's right, Paul, you'll be happy to share those?
Absolutely, yeah.
Okay, great. Yeah, so Paul, if you do need a copy of the slides, just pop a message into the chat box. Anyone else that needs them, Paul will be able to send them to you. And everyone that has attended will also get a copy of the recording as well. So if you need to share it with your team, or for anyone else that you think might be interested, then you'll be able to share that with them. Okay. I'll just hang on for another 30 seconds just in case we get any more. One thing also to remember actually whilst we're here is ProView can configure these phones for you. So we can do the provisioning to put them direct to site. We can also label the boxes up for you. to say it's room 1, room 2, room 3, just to make it super easy for deployment. So if that's something you want to know more about, then feel free to just come and find me or speak to one of the guys in my team. Okay, it doesn't look like we're getting any more questions coming through. So Paul, thank you so much for going through that today. It's been really informative. And thank you everyone so much for joining. Like I said, you will get a copy of the recording, and any more questions, just feel free to come and find us.
Thanks very much, Anna. Thanks for arranging today, and thanks everybody for your time.
Okay, thanks. Bye now.